Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the HerStory Online Summit, day 4. I can't believe we've been online for 3 days. Today is our 4th day. And the HerStory Online Summit is a platform that brings you the extraordinary tales of everyday women who are changing the world. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache. I'm the founder and global curator of the HerStory Circle movement, and I'm honored to be joining you today from beautiful Melbourne, Australia. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I would like to pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and extend that respect to all First Nations people joining us from around the world today. Over the next few days, we will dive into the lives, challenges, and triumphs of remarkable women. These stories of courage, resilience, creativity, and leadership, they're stories that remind us that when women rise, communities and nations rise with them. This summit is more than just a series of talks. It's a global circle, a space for inspiration, connection, and transformation. Together, we will share knowledge, ignite conversations, and plant seeds of change. So I invite you to grab a cup of coffee, settle in, open your heart, and allow yourself to be inspired by the incredible journeys that you will hear today. This is her story because every woman's voice matters and every story has got the power to change the world. So imagine if the world could heal itself the way our blood heals wounds, quietly, naturally, without boundaries or borders, and with no judgment. My story is deeply rooted in an African philosophy that is close to my heart. Ubuntu says, I am because we are. It teaches us that humanity is made up of not separate individuals, but one interconnected body. And just like the cells in your body, our survival as a species depends on us remembering that there is no separation between us. There is no you, there is no me, there's only we. In 2017, I collapsed in a rice field in Bali. I was rushed to hospital, hooked up to machines, watching an angiogram as the dye rushed into my veins on the monitor in front of me. In that moment, I did something strange. I started a conversation with my heart. I asked, why? Why are you doing this to me? And my heart answered back ever so gently. And it said, Gertrude, you have done this to me. I carry oxygen and nutrients into every single cell in your body to keep you alive, but you have forgotten to take care of me. In that moment, that conversation changed everything for me because I was reminded that just as my heart is connected to every cell in my body, every human being is connected to each other in the same way. This is the essence of Ubuntu. It is the spiritual foundation of most African societies, a way of life that says, I am human because I belong, because I'm connected, and because I see myself in you. Ubuntu reminds us that our perceived differences are only skin deep. When scientists finished sequencing the human genome, they discovered that every single person, every single one of us, whether you're Black, white, rich, poor, male or female, is 99.9% the same. So if our DNA tells the truth and knows the truth, why have we forgotten it? Before I had a brush with death in that rice field in Indonesia, I had it all. I was married to my best friend for 27 years. We had a beautiful life in New Zealand after fleeing the AIDS pandemic in Africa. I was the mother of three amazing children, a property investor, a businesswoman, and retiring at 49. And then it all collapsed. Our 31-year relationship was gone. I lost my marriage, I lost my wealth, I lost my health. And most of all, I lost my will to live. I had a recurring dream that came over and over every single night of ending my life on the balcony of my beautiful mansion, with my youngest son being the one who would find me. When I shared this with him, my son wrapped his arms around me and he hugged me. And he said, "Mom, I see you. I see your pain. You need to look after you." Those were the words that pulled me back. They reminded me of something that Africa had taught me a very long time ago. When life breaks you, you don't heal alone. You heal in community. In Africa, when a woman is broken by loss, by violence, by despair, we gather. We create circles and we share our stories. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, an amazing woman who is coming all the way from the United States. Sherry, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Gertrude. What a wonderful introduction and a powerful story. I had chills and goosebumps as you were talking. And, my story is similar in so many ways. And I think we all have this common thread as women. My story is very much one of losing everything and rebuilding as well. It started in 2019. I had a 20-year marriage that ended very suddenly. I found out that he was having a year-long relationship with someone that he went to high school with. I also found out that the church was aware of what was happening and they chose to protect him instead of protecting me and protecting our kids. So I'm not someone who would ever be able to trust again after something like that. So I asked him to leave, and he did. And that became really the rebuilding of my life, which was not easy. I became a single mom overnight to a daughter with special needs and to a son who was very angry at the situation and angry at the world. So we spent a lot of time rebuilding and figuring out as we went along. Wouldn't it be nice if there was a handbook for life? But there was not. So we figured it out. And then shortly after that was the pandemic. And for us, the pandemic was a blessing. It really forced us to be together, to be kind of shut up or shut in our house. And we really developed our new flow and our new way of being a family after that. So, yeah, we had a good year where we spent a lot of time together. And I know that was a very difficult time for a lot of people. For us, there was definitely a silver lining in that it gave us time and the ability to rebuild. And then, as things kind of went back to normal, I started to transition back to the office, and I had this crazy 90-minute commute to university where I worked. And that was my dream job. I wanted to get my doctorate. I wanted to be a professor. Not because I really wanted to, but because I was going to prove to people that I made it. I just had to prove myself. And, the more degrees I stacked and the more accolades I stacked, the more speaking engagements I did, the more conferences I was invited to. I just felt like I was so ego driven at the time. So Yeah, I was commuting an hour and a half to work every day, and just coming back off of the divorce and the pandemic and now back to campus every day, it was a lot. And I knew I was burnt out. I recognized the signs. I was depressed. I had no energy. I had difficulty sleeping. I had this pit in my stomach every time I went to work. And it's not like I didn't love the students and like what I was doing. It's just that I started to really recognize that I was not meant to keep up the pace of being in this constant state of proving myself to other people. I just wanted to rest and to be myself, and I didn't even know who I was anymore. Um, but those intuitive kind of pings, I very much ignored them, and I intentionally ignored them because the only way I knew how to be was someone to power through. So I was going to power through burnout and come out the other side stronger and more successful than I was when I entered the state. So I was on my way home from campus one afternoon. It was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Nothing special about the day. It was January 31st, 2022. And as I was about two-thirds of the way home, I was hit head on by a teenage driver. I suffered blunt force trauma to my chest, and I suffered a head injury. Um, And at that time, you know, it was not only a brush with death, but it was a near death experience. I remember the vision I had as I was in that state, and everything was blurred, but I saw the white light that people talk about, only there was a veil in front of it. So that light, I really wanted. I have never said this before, but I really wanted to die. I wanted to get to that light, and I wanted to experience joy and comfort and relief. And I could see it, but something stopped me. And what really stopped me was a voice from the back seat of my car. And it was a voice that very sternly said, "Get out." Um, but the back seat of my car was empty. So I came to realize shortly afterwards, I was actually on my way to the hospital, that that was the voice of my guardian angel saving my life. I wasn't meant to go to the light. I wasn't meant to leave this earth yet. So, um, that really became a turning point for my healing journey. I went through about a year of rehab. I was told by doctors that I wasn't going to really recover fully, and that was really hard. I decided to leave my university position. I just was no longer interested in returning to that life. Um, and I discovered healing modalities that helped. I wasn't going to take no for an answer. So I learned yoga. I became a yoga teacher. I learned Reiki. I became a Reiki master. And I became a student of myself. I learned about my nervous system. I learned about my body. And I learned that I was able to communicate with angels. So, kind of like the introduction at the beginning of this talk, the numbers that come to me are 111111. People see 1111 in America on the microwave and they get really excited about it. But I do, because what that signifies is 1111. Literally, we are all one. So there is no separation between us as people. There is no separation between us and the divine. And now I channel angels and I do readings, and I support women on their healing journey, particularly women who are burnt out, women who are living a life that they no longer want and they don't really know another way. And a nice, beautiful bridge between where she is and where she wants to be is that connection with the divine. And I would never have become that bridge between the world of the divine and the world of human, had I not encounter that for myself. I was between both worlds, and I didn't have any idea at the time what a huge, huge blessing and a huge gift that was going to be in my life. So I'm so happy to be here today. So just to talk a little bit more about what it is that I do, um, I after I had my near death experience and I heard the voice of my guardian angels, part of my practice was meditation. So I learned how to meditate. I got really intentional about my meditation practice. So I started to see the angels, and then I started to hear them out of this side of of my of my body. So I hear them on my right. So when I channel them for women, it's really a beautiful thing. And it strikes me as so interesting because for so many of us, and I don't know if there's anyone out there that resonates with this, it is sometimes a very long time that we go without hearing nice things about ourselves. And what I love about the angels is that they are the beacons of unconditional love. They join us all together and it's so amazing. You don't really even have to believe in them for them to love you. You're assigned with two guardian angels at birth, and it's just the most beautiful unconditional love. So I share that message with women, and it's just a joy to put a smile on people's face and to be the messenger and to be that bridge between the divine and our earthly world.
Sherry, thank you so much for being with us today. It's just absolutely fascinating when I connect with women who are not just empowering themselves, but empowering others on this journey that we call life, right? Now, you heard a voice that changed your life. A lot of people hear this voice, but they do not trust it. What was it that made you tune into the realness of it and understanding that this was a voice from the divine?
I love that question. And I was one of those people, to be honest. I heard it and I was ignoring it. I was pushing it aside, trying to do things my own way. And I was aware that I was doing this. It just didn't quite sink in until the
Mm.
day of the accident. And what changed it was the force at which it spoke to me, or he spoke to me. Angels and in in my belief system, they don't really intervene. We always have choice as humans, and they don't intervene unless we ask. Also, unless it's life or death. So at that point where I was, really wanting very much to be on the other side and to cross over, um, my angel gave me no other choice. Hello.
My
Angel,
little grandson is with us today.
I love it. There he is. I didn't have a choice. I mean, it was very stern. It was like, "Hey, get out." It wasn't a request, it was a command. Um,
Mm.
and after that, I couldn't go back. I couldn't go back to the old way I was living. I didn't want to go back to the old way I was living because I felt so lucky, and I know now that there's so much more than what we see in our
Mhm.
day-to-day life.
Now, you described the pandemic as a blessing for your family. How did it shift your perspective on work, life, and healing?
The pandemic shifted my view of work Honestly, very, I don't mean to be, smart alecky about this, but it was just like, well, if we can work from home, why am I going to start driving an hour and a half to work again? Like we were
Yes.
successfully working from home and it worked. So, kind of when it came time to go back, it was like, well, why? I
Why
don't really
did I do that?
need to do
Yeah.
that. We've done it successfully. Um, and for my family, it was just nice. We learned how to compromise. We only had, we were all online at the same time, so our internet would be overwhelmed. We had to
Yes.
communicate, and we had to prioritize, and we had to work as a team, um, and support each other, and we did that, and it was just for me, it was the best time. It was the time I needed to just completely slow down. It was a good excuse to stay home and be with the kids and rebuild.
Now, you've spoken about burnout and the constant need to prove yourself. What would you say to women who feel stuck in that same cycle?
I would encourage them as much as possible to find some support. I believe that as women, we have a unique experience. So we are working, we're caretakers, we have all of these roles. And when they kind of stack one on top of another, um, it sometimes becomes hard to navigate. So I would say if you don't have support, please seek support, because burnout is a recipe for anxiety, for depression, for low self-esteem, for lack of self-trust, um, and it doesn't have to be that way. And the other thing I think is really important for women is just if you are burnout and you're recognizing it, congratulations, because you're listening. You're listening to the signals of your body. Just like Gertrude, you were talking about your heart. For me, it was just stress and nervous system dysregulation. So if you're burnout and you recognize that you are burnout, I just want to celebrate you for your recognition and your self-awareness. I think that a lot of people don't have that. So if you have that, congratulations, because you're not living in the dark, you're living in the light.
So, how did you learn about identity and ego through your academic success and subsequent spiritual awakening?
I learned about ego through my spiritual work. I did not learn it at university. No one teaches you about emotional intelligence or um, about esoteric wisdom at university. And boy, I wish they did, because wouldn't that be nice? Those are not required courses. I learned that kind of the hard way. Um, and I learned it the hard way. And I'm thankful for that. So the way I tell ego, I separate ego from intuition is if I get this like, ooh, that sounds exciting. That's my intuition moving me in that direction. Where now, as I have learned to listen to the signals of my body and pay attention to those physical symptoms, for me, if I have a lump in my throat or a pit in my stomach, and I still am trying to talk myself into doing those things anyway, I recognize that as my ego. It's not about stacking accolades or forcing yourself to do things you don't want to do. It is about really living your purpose and staying healthy and supporting one another. Those to me are the essential parts of my life now.
I love it. So, how do you now help women to build a bridge between the human world and the divine? And how do you guide them across that bridge?
Oh my gosh. I teach them to trust themselves. I think at the core of it, with the women I work with, it is two things: it's fear and it's lack of self trust. So, we do a lot of intuitive work. We do a lot of embodiment work. So, feeling into our bodies. And I bring the divine into our sessions. So most of the women I work with um, are open spiritually, and the angels become that bridge between where women are and where they want to be. And that's how I do it. It's really following your intuition and going toward those ooh moments and, rethinking those moments that kind of make you feel icky.
So, what does living a divinely led life look like for you today? And how can women begin to access that level of guidance for themselves?
Living a divinely guided life really has so much to do with trust. Um, so I can give you an example. I was having a difficult time last week and I saw just randomly 3 baby goats walking down the road, and I'm like, this is not even real. Like, this cannot be a sign. I was going on a walk, asking the angels for a sign, and here are 3 baby goats walking down my street, which has never happened in the 25 years I've lived here. And then I got home and I did a little Google search about the spiritual significance of 3 baby goats. And it was a beautiful experience. It talked about kind of how they're unsteady on their feet until they, grow up. And it talked about 3 being the symbol for mind, body, spirit, which I already knew, but I hadn't made that connection. So living a divinely guided life doesn't mean um, going on a mountaintop at Mount Shasta and praying every day. To me, it's just noticing the little things that happen during the day and trusting the signs that come along. If you find a feather, if you see certain numbers, if intuitively you know that rock you see that's shaped in a heart is a guidance from your angels or your spirit team, to really start to lean in and trust that. There isn't really real time communication between us and the divine, but there is communication. And I think it's just a matter of, for me, it was developing awareness and trusting.
Let's finish off with one last question. What would you say to the woman who's listening right now, who's exhausted, disconnected from her body, and unsure where to begin again?
I would tell her, first of all, get some sleep. You can't, I mean, honestly, just please sleep. Um, Learn how to make that boundary and take care of yourself. You take care of yourself first. It's like what they tell you on the airplane, put your oxygen mask on first. And it really is important to do that. Um, Resting helps restore your body. Um, it helps heal your body, and it really gives you a whole new outlook on life. And the other thing, and I know I've said it before, I will say it again, get some support. And if you don't have support, um, I would advise to start doing some research and connecting with some local groups to get support, because we are not meant to live this hectic life and to live it in a bubble. We are meant to support each other and lean on each other.
Fantastic. Sherry, thank you so much for coming online and sharing your wisdom with our community today. It's always wonderful to reconnect with you. I always feel charged and ready to take on the world after having these conversations. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gertrude. I appreciate you.
And thank you to everybody who's tuned in so far. We'll be back again tomorrow with yet another series of guests. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world, and bye for now.